Listen, child, the night has long ears, and the drum remembers what we try to forget. In the red-soiled valley of Mahia, where the guava trees lean like old aunties, sharing secrets, a girl named Tandiwe, her name means beloved, fell in love with Sibusiso, whose laugh unfurled like cloth in the market wind. They married with blessings poured like sorghum, and the moon sat wide-eyed to watch them dance. But not every drum beats for your dance. There was a family, his family, whose love was a locked granary, the key hidden behind another woman's smile. They had chosen for Sibusiso Naledi, the shining friend of his sister Zanele. Their decision was older than the rain, they said. Their decision was a path already swept. But water is soft, but it carves the rock. And this is the story of love that refused to be stolen, and a woman who learned that acceptance is not surrender. It is choosing peace when war would be easier. Before the shade turned sour, it was sweet. Thandiwe sold mangoes in a basket woven by her grandmother. Sibusiso repaired radios, small miracles of wire and patience. He would test each radio with old township songs, and the sound would lift like a kite. One afternoon, a flame tree threw coins of light on the dusty road. Thandiwe's mangoes spilled. Sibusiso knelt, hands careful, eyes softer than ripe pawpaw. Sibusiso, gentle. Forgive me. Let me buy what I broke. Thandiwe, smiling. You didn't break anything. You only found me. They walked home in opposite directions, but the air between them stayed joined. Weeks turned to months, and their laughter was the place their hearts met each evening. He spoke of building a home where arguments cooled like tea forgotten on a windowsill. She spoke of children who would never be afraid to bring their report cards, even if the numbers fell like dry leaves at the engagement. Elders tied a thread between their wrists. Elder, blessing, love is not a goat you can tie for market. It is a river, follow it, and it will teach you its song. But behind the ululation, a mouth sharpened its first knife. Zanelle's eyes were cool as morning ashes. She whispered to an auntie who passed the whisper like a coin that buys trouble. Whisper, hissing, this is a mistake. The family already chose. The boy is drunk on love. He will sober. Not every drum beats for your dance. Whispers at the Lobola fires, 07 Zala 12 Nja, SFX. Evening crickets. Cattle bells, a small ceremonial fire. During Lobola, uncles measured the air with long stories. They named the price not in cattle alone, but in dignity, in respect, in shared future. Sibusiso's mother, Mazondi, kept her face like an unread letter. When the calabash of sweet beer went around, Zanele coughed into it, deliberate, loud. A pause. Eyes returned the calabash to the center as if a snake had curled there. Mazondi, cool. Perhaps we proceed when everyone in this arrangement understands the family's plans. Silence is a visitor with heavy feet. It pressed on Thandiwe's chest. An elder cleared his throat. Elder, plans? The boy has spoken. The ancestors heard. Mazondi. Ancestors also listened to sisters. Zanele's friend Naledi, educated, well-placed, and already beloved by us, would water our homestead better. Words like hot stones. Sibusiso stood, jaw set. Sibusiso. Mother, I bring a wife, not a ladder for other people's dreams. Thandiwe is my choice, murmurs. A breeze offended the fire, but the negotiations ended, and the bride price was agreed, smaller than it should have been, as if love had a discount. Yet that night, beneath a young moon, Thandiwe and Sibusiso pledged the refrain that would become their shield. Together, whispered, where you go, I go. Where you stand, I stand. Afternoon sun, footsteps on gravel, a gentle wind. Naledi came like a soft flood, polite, glowing, carrying a basket of store-bought biscuits and words dipped in honey. Naledi, to Thandiwe, I admire you, truly. Sibusiso deserves joy. We all want that for him, but honey can hide a sting. She left behind a scarf scented with foreign flowers. Later, Zanele would find it in Sibusiso's workshop and hold it up like a captured flag. Zanele to Mazondi. You see, his heart knows where it should rest. There were other games. A message accidentally sent to Thandiwe's phone. A photo of Naledi and Sibusiso at the same community meeting, cropped so it seemed like intimacy. Gossip, that old hyena, loped through the village. Thandiwe's aunties advised prayers and silence. Her friends advised a storm. Thandiwe, to herself, I will not fight for what I already hold. At supper, Thandiwe placed an extra piece of fish on Sibusiso's plate. No interrogation. He took her hand. Sibusiso, I will not be led by other people's fear. Water is soft, but it carves the rock. Knives of words, shields of love. Market day, sudden hush, then a ripple of voices. When the market learned new words for Thandiwe, outsider, dust from another yard, she answered with sweetness that tasted nothing like defeat. She measured cloth for a woman who had mocked her 2 days before and added a small discount. The woman left confused, carrying shame like a heavy bowl. At a family gathering, Mazondi announced that all daughters-in-law would cook. When Thandiwe's pot was placed on the fire, someone, no one, added a handful of salt. The stew grew bitter. Laughter hid in coughs. Thandiwe chose not to cry there. Later, alone by the water drum, she let tears run where no one would drink. Sibusiso found her. Sibusiso, voice breaking. I taste every tear you refuse to spill in front of them. Thandiwe, we cannot turn them into what they refuse to be. Sibusiso, then we will be who we promised to be. On another day, a rumor came dressed as concern. Thandiwe is barren. The rumor moved fast, faster than news of rain. And yet, like a stubborn seed, hope sprouted. One morning, Thandiwe's hands trembled over a small blue shawl she crocheted, smiling at nothing and everything. The river learned first that a child was coming. It carried the secret in its cool palm. Not every drum beats for your dance. Where you go, I go. Where you stand, I stand. Birth, naming, and the empty basket. Midwives murmuring, a newborn's cry, ululation, then a lingering hush. Baby Lerato arrived with dawn light on her forehead. Love, that's what her name meant. Sibusiso walked like a man who had swallowed the sun. He took gifts to his mother's homestead, hands open, heart wider than the road. But some doors opened to let out warmth. Very few opened to bring it in. Mazondi, leave the gifts. The child will know where her true home is, when she is brought by the right woman. The words clawed. Sibusiso returned with the basket still full. Corn, a soft blanket, and 3 oranges Thandiwe had chosen, bright as promises. He set the basket down, winded, as if he had run against an invisible wall. Thandiwe. Then the child will thrive on what is already here. They named the baby by the river, where elders once bent to bless and not to bite. Only a few came, enough. A neighbor woman hummed low, and Thandiwe sang words that shined like clean water. Thandiwe singing, simple. River, carry our names, not to those who will drown them, but to the sea that holds us all. The first time Lerato laughed, the house forgot every insult. The laugh was round as a calabash, and it spilled everywhere. Even the walls smiled. Even the broom stood straighter. Later, a second child, Quanele, enough, arrived. A son who slept with his fists open, as if even his dreams were generous. Sibusiso kissed both foreheads and whispered to the ceiling, Sibusiso, if love had a job, we would never be unemployed. The house by the river moving day, footsteps, gentle clatter, river nearby. When you cannot drink from a poisoned well, you dig a new one. Sibusiso and Thandiwe moved near the river. A small rented house with a stubborn roof and a mango tree that refused to grow straight. They painted the doorway yellow. They planted marigolds like laughter around the steps. Neighbors came, some carrying questions, others carrying casseroles. Thandiwe organized a reading circle under the mango's crooked shade. Children who had learned to flinch learned also to listen. Sibusiso started a tiny workshop. Radios healed beneath his careful hands. At dusk they taught Lerato and Quanele to greet the river with thanks, yet the in-laws did not vanish. Storms don't become sunshine because you light a candle. Zanel visited sometimes with news packaged as duty. Zanele, glancing around. So, this is where you chose to hide? Dundiwe, this is where we chose to live. Zanele, shrugging. You still have time to correct things. Naledi, she, Sibusiso, firm, unwavering. My sister, I'm already home. And when the nights brought fear, whispering that love was not enough, Vandiwe remembered her own mother's proverb, mother's voice, memory. You cannot borrow a mother's love from a neighbor, but you can become the mother your children will never need to borrow. So she stitched school uniforms for free when she could. She refused to let bitterness rent a room. Water is soft, but it carves the rock. Where you go, I go. Where you stand, I stand. The last visit, the open footsteps on gravel, hesitant knock, distant thunder. One late afternoon, clouds held back their cry. Mazondi stood at the yellow door, shoulders small. Grief had visited her house. Zanel's plans had folded like wet paper. Naledi had married elsewhere, far away. Life had written its own sentence. Mazondi, quiet. I came to see the children. Thandiwe did not ask for apologies like receipts. She opened the door wider. Thandiwe, gently, they are here. They are always here. Lerato showed her a drawing, 4 people holding hands beneath a lopsided mango. Quanele offered a broken radio he called truck. Mazondi's hands trembled over the small lives she had refused to hold. Tears came down the old way, the honest way. Mazondi, I do not know how to be softer. Thandiwe, steady, then be present. Water learns softness from the river. You can learn here. There was no sweeping speech, no drum of reconciliation. Love does not always dance in public. But that day, the house made space for a new kind of silence, the kind that listens. Sibusiso brewed tea. 3 cups, 4. No one counted. When Mazondi left, she pressed a small bead bracelet into Lerato's hand. Mazondi, whisper, for when you name what keeps you strong. And if you are waiting for fireworks, remember, the best harvest is quiet. Mazondi did not turn into a different woman overnight. Some visits were warm. Some were cold. Thandiwe did not chase warmth nor curse cold. She kept the door unlocked and her heart locked to what would harm her children. Not every drum beats for your dance. Where you go, I go. Where you stand, I stand. Moral blessing, farewell river close, bird settling, dusk drum. Hear the moral, child, and carry it like bread. In life, you will not be loved by everyone. Families differ. Some are rivers, some are stones. You do not have to bleed your feet trying to make stones move. Build your home where the water teaches you to bend without breaking. Thandiwe did not win a trophy for being right. She won a home for being kind. Sibusiso did not become a hero by shouting. He became a husband by standing. Their children learned that the world's cold floor can be warmed by a small yellow door and 2 hands that refused to throw back the stones that were thrown at them. Water is soft, but it carves the rock. Not every drum beats for your dance. Where you go, I go. Where you stand, I stand.